Okay, I'm back on the TR6. I was supposed to weld today. I wanted to weld those, where I cut the fender so I can make it straight. But I ran out of welding gas, so I'm doing a little bit of grinding today. I just ground this door here where I extended, if you remember, with weld, so it wasn't ground inside. So I took the opportunity that I don't have welding gas, so I can do some other stuff, so I ground this. But now I think I'm gonna move to something else. This fender here, which I worked on it down there to fit the rocker and everything, but now when I looked at the gap between the fender and the lid, the trunk lid, I see this, which is a little bit weird. So this gap closes a lot here, and then it opens again here. Let me show it the other way. So this gap is really weird, huh? Going in, then going out. Let me do something else. So I'm gonna take the straight edge, I'm gonna put it here, and then you can see so you see it is totally uneven. It's wavy like I don't know what. If you look at this side, I know it's a little bit dark, but it is almost straight, almost. When I took off the fender, I was expecting to see something weird there, but there was nothing. So probably they patched the edge at some point and they warped it. So I removed the primer, and as it turned out, the bondo that was there, and really there was patching there, a very old one, because it was braced. Anyway, so I split the fender right on the corner, and my idea was to push it in and weld it so it forms a straight line. So the fender was ready for welding, but since I didn't have welding gas, I had to move to something else. So this flange here was wavy, and I noticed that what was making it wavy was the huge amount of bondo that somebody applied there. So I just sanded it down to a straight line, and it looked great. And now the fender fits really nice. The day after, we got welding gas delivery, so I could proceed with the welding on the fender. Okay, I'll try to do my best here, but it's been braced here, so I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to weld it. So I'm gonna first try. And if it doesn't work very well, then I'm going to have to cut off the whole piece and replace it with the angle. I clamped a 1x1 bar to the fender so it keeps it straight, and then it was very easy to weld it. Actually works. I use my air gun to cool it down constantly so it doesn't warp again. I think it's much better. It's not perfect, but now I'm gonna grind it a little bit more here. This is my welding here sticking out. So I'm gonna grind it a little bit more, a little bit of body filler, and it's gonna look perfect. So the body filler is something that I'm still learning. I have to learn a lot because it's not that easy. I've done a lot of body filler on my Spitfire, but obviously it wasn't enough. But I'm gonna learn eventually. So for now I'm just doing very rough body filler here and there, just to make sure that the panels fit together, and then the final prepping and painting of the car is gonna be done in a different shop. We're gonna give it to professionals. And since I wanted to mount the fenders permanently, I had to fix those areas in the front and the back of the rocker where it meets the fenders. So since I started doing Bondo, I wanted to do that too. Here there was one of my welds, I didn't grind it very well, and now I had to use this little grinder to grind it so I can fit the fender. And this is how the fender fits. Now the gap looks beautiful, and this little gap between the deck and the fender is not wavy anymore. There was another problem though. Down there, the rear valance didn't meet the fender for some reason. Probably the valance got bent when we were flipping the body back and forth. It got flipped maybe 50 times. So I had to cut some notches on this flange over there and use the specialized tool for rear valances. Yeah. But it worked. I made sure that it fits. Then I had to remove all the panels again for painting. I didn't forget to weld the flange that I cut. So I primed and painted all the areas that are gonna be covered with the fenders, because once they are covered it's gonna be really hard to paint them. Also the inside of the door, because once it gets attached with the hinges it's not gonna be easy to reach there. And while everything dries I decided to take a little nap. So finally I was ready to start assembling the fenders and everything on the right side of the car permanently. At least that's what I thought. Okay, this looks good. Pretty much okay. But here I give up for today. That's crazy. I started tightening the bolt from inside and this bondo just snapped, which means that there is a crack right here, not in the bondo, in the metal, because when I started tightening it, started pulling towards the fender and the bondo cracked. Tomorrow I'm gonna grind this off and I'm sure I'm gonna find out that there's a big gap over here that was covered with bondo, not even welded. I have to remove the whole fender now again and start whatever. Anyways. Yeah, I can tell I was really mad that night. Now you're gonna see why. I had the full right to be so mad. This is the way people restore cars, you see? And I can't believe we were tricked this way, and I can't believe that we paid for those repairs. And now we have to... Anyway. Now I know how did they manage to do it so fast. Amazing, huh? Okay, there was also old repair there. Somebody repaired it with lead. I don't even know what's the name of the process. Leading, maybe? Anyways, I wanted to clean the lead because I wanted to remove only the top flange. I was hoping that the bottom flange was still in a good shape and I can keep it, but it turned out I needed to remove it too. It was too far gone. So I made a replacement piece for the bottom flange and I cut it out. I also had to cut out this corner and replace it. A lot of TR6 got cut out that day. And finally I was ready to start adding metal instead of removing. The angle grinder is like the spot healing brush tool in Photoshop, because all the screw ups and all the ugly shapes get smoothened out with the angle grinder. So the inner flange is in. This hole right there for the bolt is a little bit too high, but I'm gonna make the other hole on the top flange a little bit lower, and then I'm gonna grind that down. So now it was time to do the external flange. I needed to give it some weird shape to match the opening that I created there. And when it was ready, I traced it on the car and I cut out the metal, so more TR6 was coming out. Then I primed the metal that was gonna get covered and started welding again. So this is what it looks like when it was tucked in place. You see here the hole. It's gonna be ground later, a little bit lower, but yeah, it looks like Frankenstein. It's ready to be welded, but before that there is one very important thing, and that's to fit the fender and make sure everything lines up. So it did, and I could continue with the welding and cooling down. Again, a little bit of the spot healing brush tool. Then I smoothened out the edges of the old bondo that was there. And then applied my own. Again, very roughly, because as I said, somebody else is gonna do the fine work. I'm just smoothing it out to make sure that I have the right shape of the metal underneath. When it dried out, I sanded it with the palm sander until it was smoothened enough for my rough hands. And with that, I hope that the right side of the car is totally ready and I could move on to the left side. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video as well. And if you want to stay in touch, check my Facebook page, Rusty Beauties. You can find the link in the channel art of my YouTube channel.